$75, comes with the frame. And this was really an experimental piece where the ones in the frames kind of all started out with the same color palette. And then I just kept adding layers and layers and layers. So it was kind of cool to see how each one found its own rhythm and its own mark in itself. And yeah, I just, the thing that I'm learning is that I just keep painting and I keep painting until I really like it, until it has the aesthetics, until it has the layers and the depth. And I really do love playing with drips and, different transparencies and everything with the art, with the paint. So I love this piece. So Don't Stop Till It Feels Right is the title. And the frame obviously comes with it. And yeah, so we'll move over this way to the next piece. This piece is in canvas, on a canvas. It's $35. And there's all different ranges in my art show tonight, from, small pieces to really big pieces, which is really fun. But this is saying crazy is okay. So this is a little crazy for my liking, but it's okay. That's part of art, is, to find the rhythm, to find the aesthetics, to find what works and what doesn't. And so when I was in art school was obviously really incredible. It was able to teach me composition and colors and palettes and mixing and all these different things. But it also kind of hindered my creativity and my intuition flow, I would say. So really just like letting loose and not thinking about all that type of stuff really does affect. So this one is, $35. It's on a canvas and it's a little smaller, but I loved working on this piece and adding layers to it. So, and then the next one, which is also $35, it's called Marks Matter, and it's 11 by 14 inches. And this piece was really cool because, again, what I love about painting is that I'll start one direction and it will really just move completely different. So I did like a lot of like mixing and painting, and I honestly just squirted paint on a canvas and mixed it up with some palettes, and then I kind of added some pastel. There's some glitter in there with the maroon or the rust color, and I love using oil pastels because when you use water colors or water-based like this glitter, it separates it and allows it to really make its own shape in its own way. And I just love how this piece came out in the end. And that's what I kind of like, is just being unpredictable and kind of following each mark and taking my time and not rushing into each piece. So Marks Matter is that one. So the next one is Pick Your Poison. It's a beautiful green, which I hope you can see. I love the palette. This kind of has alcohol ink, pastels, and acrylic in it. Is also $35. And it's called Pick Your Poison because I was really struggling. So when I unpacked my art studio, I had a lot of pieces that were unfinished. And I also had pieces that I worked on that maybe could use a mark or two to bring it back to life. So this piece was called Pick Your Poison because I couldn't decide. I couldn't decide if I wanted to add one more thing to it or if it was great how it is. So I decided to leave it as it is. I didn't want to ruin it. I loved how it looked, the layers, the transparency, the circles. So to me, I picked the poison of leaving it how it is, and that's how that name came about. So when I pick names for my pieces, it kind of just happens at the end, and I kind of just intuitively feel what it needs to be called. Or I do have some sort of, you'll see a couple pieces where I do have a sort of intention or a theme that I am going for. So let's pick your poison. And then we have this next one, which if you did purchase this, it would come in a frame. Unfortunately, Michael's didn't have as many frames as I would have liked them to have. So this one's called Always Follow the Rainbow. I love rainbow. I definitely will probably do a series of just rainbow colors. This is, you know, all 7 colors straight out of the tube, the acrylic tubes, and it is $65 with the frame, which it will have if you purchase it. And this is all wet paint, one layer, one time of me painting. And this is how all of the pieces started that are in the frames that I was kind of talking about earlier, is that they all kind of started like this. And then I just kept adding to them, and they each had their own little rhythm and their style as I kept going through. So this one is really great, and I love how funky and unpredictable it is. All right, last on this gallery wall we have in my bedroom is this piece called Mistakes in Madness. And the more I look at it, there really is like an abstract face kind of in here. There's a couple noses, a couple lips. I even see some, you know, the blue lines up top are kind of like the forehead, and it's kind of like a green-skinned person. This one is $75, mixed media on Jetso paper and acrylic. And it's just, you know, it's just so fun. Like, I am really at the beginning of my artistic career. And so, you know, sometimes I beat myself up over that, and I'm not, you know, as comfortable in what I'm doing, but at the same time, it's so exciting that I don't have a mark. I don't have any style yet. I'm really just playing and really just focusing on play. So that way I can kind of like dip into my intuition and see where that takes me. So it's really exciting. I'm at the beginning of this, you know, art journey of mine back in the studio. I can't wait to show you my studio for a minute as well. So this piece, again, I have lots of favorites in my art show, which I think each artist really does. It is called Follow the Knowing. It's 24 inches by 36 inches, and it's $555. This one has thick paint on it, mostly acrylic. The color palette was meant for my living room. That's what I made it for. And I just love the kind of the circle and how white it is in the middle, because you're following the knowing. So you're kind of like following into the circle, into the middle of this painting. And I really love the title and how this piece came out, the color palette and everything. You know, I'm really pushing mixing and layers and lines and dots. So it's been really, really fun to be experimental with my art. So that's the beginning of this art show. We are now going to move through into my living space and see some more of my art. So again, this is another canvas piece. It's called Believe in Yourself. It's $35. This is another piece that I kind of found in my art studio when I unpacked. And then I kind of decided to bring it back to life with more color, more mark, more paint. And I don't know if you can see, there is some gold shimmer, some iridescent, you know, there's the depth and the inside. And I just love playing with layers and thick paint, thin paint. One of my favorite words is paradox. Everything in this world, in this life, is a paradox. So having to play with so many different types of art, I think, is really fun and really exciting. So I'm really testing the boundaries of what paradox is and what that means, and using all of it. So thin paint, thick paint, you know, thick paint, layers, no layers, transparency, opacity. So again, it's just all experimentation. So over here, this one is called Where Are We? So one of my themes, I guess, is abstract landscape. So this one was inspired by my mom, when my mom and I took a trip to Colorado Springs and saw the Garden of the Gods. So it really, actually, this piece started out super red, super orange, super yellow. And now, you know, it's got lots of pinks, it's got greens, it's got blues. You can kind of see I've added some like greenery in here. The green is like super thick paint. So I love just like putting it on and taking it away. And the Garden of the Gods was super incredible. You know, we actually rented some bikes that were automatic, and we were like bicycles, and we were able to really take in the scenery, take in the amazing views that the Gardens of the Gods have. And it was such a great trip that I decided to make some art. So this is a square piece, 36 by 36 inches, and it's $450. And that's also without shipping included, all prices. So I really love this piece, and I love the term abstract landscape. So I'm really excited to dive in and be more fun and see where that takes me. And we're just going to head down here for a second. So I have these postcards that are $5. So every time I have leftover paint, I decided to to make squares about 6.5 inches by 4 inches. And then, you know, on the other side, I just create the art. I create something with the leftover paint. So, you know, you can see some colors are the same, some are different. This one has some thick paint on it. All of these are $5, and you get an awesome, cool EHriginal Art sticker with your purchase and all purchases. So look out for that. And so again, I have this amazing ebook that I'll be sending to you guys. You'll be able to look at all the art really up close and really be able to see each piece and each postcard for you to purchase. So we're going to walk over here, the next spot. And so over here, so this is kind of where my ebook starts in a way. It's kind of like I start with the mind, and I start with lines, and I start with being very controlled of my art. So this one's called Beautiful Anxious Mind. It's $65 with the frame. And I definitely struggle with anxiety and some stress, anxiety and overwhelmed. I was a little overwhelmed today, but it's all good. And I feel like this kind of definitely shows it in a beautiful way of how scattered we can be, but yet we can be very focused with the straight lines and determination and discipline and everything. So I love this piece. It really came together. It has that rainbow vibe a little bit, but it's not too crazy for you. And so this is kind of how my art started. So if we get into this big piece over here, this one is huge, if you can't tell. Oh, I think the thing's over here. So this is 54 inches by 72. It's $1,100. So this was the piece in my undergrad class, and this is kind of where the lines and the mind the knowing over mind name kind of started. So this is very analytical. It's called Trying to Keep It Together. It kind of has that industrial vibe, you know, again, straight lines. So I kind of took this from my undergrad and continued it 2 years later in my new art studio, and kept with the lines, kept with the tape. So a lot of this was used with painter's tape to keep, you know, these straight triangles and all these different crazy shapes that I made and these straight lines. So I kind of took that and continued with it to see where it would take me and see how it could evolve. So this piece used to be in a salon, a beauty salon where you get your hair cut for a while, and it actually was on a brick wall, which looked really cool. You'll see some photos in the ebook of it living there for a little bit. So it's looking for a home though. So if anyone wants a nice big piece for their house, would be amazing. And we'd have to figure out how to ship it, but you know, that's the part of the art journey, is to learn as you go and to figure it out. So, and then last of this kind of series of like I call it mind art, where I'm very like precise. I'm very, you know, thinking about my next brush stroke almost too much maybe, but yet following my intuition as well. This one is called Structure is Important but Not Stable. So again, this is another piece that would have a frame around it if Michael's had them all. And it's $55, acrylic on gesso paper. And I love this. Like, I didn't like it as much before it was framed because I saw it in a frame at one point, and it has this, like, it has so much motion in it. It really does look like industrial, like, structure, yet it kind of looks like it's falling. It kind of looks like it is stable, and it kind of also looks like it's going up all at the same time. So this piece really grew on me the more and more I was around it and I looked at it. And again, I'm just playing with layers, and I'm playing with the different aspects of the transparency of paint. So it's been really fun to experiment and to have these kind of different avenues and these different ideas that I'm playing with. You know, an artist is always working on at least 5 to 10 different pieces all at one time sometimes, or sketches of that. So it's been fun to kind of just see where I'm going with my art, and that's what this art show is all about. So we're going to see the next landscape, abstract landscape, which this is called The New Era. It's $310. I love this piece as well. This was my first piece after graduating in my undergrad. And I really took my time. That's what I've learned, is that when I take my time, I'm not rushed. I make marks when I'm ready instead of forcing it. It really does come out so beautifully. So, this piece started out as just kind of the middle, and then all of a sudden I added this crazy vortex that comes from the underground and goes to the heavens. And that's what I was capturing, is kind of this new era up here with the blues and the yellows and the oranges, and to kind of just have that inspiration of to keep going and to keep flowing with whatever the vortex is. And I just love the lines that I did, and over here and the yellow with the transparency, the drips, and how they kind of just stop. Not sure how I made that happen, but it looks really good. And so this is another one of my favorite pieces, and it's, it can go to a new home if necessary, but so this is another abstract landscape. So I'm really excited to keep playing with that and to get inspired by Colorado and wherever I go and travel, and to kind of play off of these different ideas. So we have one more piece, and then I will be heading into the art studio. We have this one here, which is called Not Knowing is Okay. It is $45. So to really help me break through my mind controlling the brush, I've actually been painting with my left hand. And my left hand doesn't have as much control, obviously, because you're not used to using it. So my brush strokes, my painting style, it all is like super more messy and not controlled. And that's really allowed me to kind of let go and to play and to not be so judgmental on myself and my art. So this piece was one of the first ones that I really did use my left hand, and I tried to try something new. So this one's $45. And so check them out in my ebook again. I made this awesome ebook. I wish you guys had it before the show, but life happens and I'm doing my best. And so next we will go into my art studio for a minute and just see where all the creation happens. So this is the biggest space that I've ever had in my life as an artist, and it's really cool. It's been really fun. These two pieces are from undergrad that I use as inspiration, that if I ever were to draw people or paint people again, I know I can do it. I know it's something that is possible. These are canvases I recently made that I'm excited to get some masonite board and start painting on them, and to start making this a new thing for myself, new art, new canvases. So being an artist is not just all about painting. It is literally, you can build your own canvases. You have to price your art, do the dimensions, titles. You have to put the hardware on the back of each piece. So it's really, your job title is a lot bigger than I think people understand. And so, yeah, just to come through here real quick, I have tons of colors. Like, I literally could not believe when I unpacked my art studio from 2018, all of the colors that I've had, all of the paint that I've accumulated, all of the resources, the tools. You know, I have a sander, I have staple gun, hammers, clippers, drills, you know, you name it. I have a lot of different things to really become an artist, because that's what you need. You need all of these tools, you need all of these things, and to have such a big space in my life right now has been so incredible, and I'm just so thankful for that. This piece was going to be in the show, but I just never finished it, and I did not want to rush it through. I'm not really sure how it's going to be finished or what's going on. But again, like I said, for me and my art, it's really important to not rush it and to really give myself that space and time, and to really feel into when I'm going to make a mark or make anything, any type of brush stroke on there. So yeah, this is my palette. So it's made out of glass. I mix all my paint on here. Sometimes I use old records to use as mixing paint. And yeah, just lots of inspiration on the wall and to keep me going and to keep all of this flowing as an artist. So you really do need a lot of space if you are going to have somewhere to create. It's, you know, it's just so that way your mind can expand and you can really feel into your art, into your creativity. So I've been so thankful finding this place. I moved in here in August 2020. So I really moved in, and I'm so excited to keep creating and to keep making that happen. So we're actually going to go upstairs in my house now to the second half of the art show. We are almost done. So thank you all for being here and working with me with the technical difficulties. So let's head upstairs and see the last pieces of art. Oh, and I did want to mention actually something, which I'll kind of talk about as I go up here, is that, so I call myself EHriginal artist. And for those of you that maybe don't know what that means or how to pronounce it or anything, so I came up with this funny, it's not funny, but you know, if you want to own an original of something, so original. So I just used my initials, Erika Hicks, EH, and I took away the O and replaced the EH. So it's an EHriginal. So own an EHriginal instead of an original. So it's something I'm just playing with. If you know me from Thirsty for Spirit, you know me from Keeping It Coolers. If you know me from all different walks, I like to play with words. I like to play with the meanings of them and really just go from there. So I am known as EHriginal artist Erika Hicks, and so that's just a fun little story of how that started. So we have about 4 or 5 pieces left. So thanks again for being here. This one is called Ode to Water. It's $45. It comes with the frame, and this one in Colorado we had tons of fires this year, which were unexpected. We had ash falling on my car. We had the sun looking like it was the apocalyptic. It was crazy. So this piece, I sat outside, I connected to the earth, and I kind of had that intention of calling on water, calling on the rain to help the fires here in Colorado, and to really, you know, do my part on the quantum level to help my state become less full of fire. So that was this piece. And again, I love the drips and the mixing of paint and everything. I really think it captures that water feel and Mother Nature. So, and then we have some more postcards over here on the table. which are for sale. They are $5 each. And, you know, each one comes with the right type of things that you need to send an actual postcard. You have your stamp, you have the lines, and then of course my Instagram tag. So if you're not following me on Instagram, go check me out. If you receive one or buy one, tag me. I would love to see that and see where it's going and, you know, who gets them and stuff. It's so fun. It's just a really creative way for me to use my extra paint because I hate wasting paint. So it's just been really fun to come up with these abstract play compositions as I are painting on bigger canvases. This one, as you can see, has kind of like an iridescent green on it. Can you see that? Kind of? Maybe. Anyway, we have Ryan on the camera. We have my mom and Amanda on the lights. So I'm so grateful to have this team with me for this virtual event because it could not have happened with just myself. So we decided this side or the other side. So this piece, Ryan's gonna have to move around a little bit. It has iridescent red, green, and white on it. It is called God, Goddess, You. It's 36 by 48 inches, acrylic marker and glitter on canvas. It's $454, which equals 13, which is the goddess number. And this piece is funny because I started it in 2018 after my goddess retreat in April, and it sat unfinished for 2 years. And so I've had it. It kind of was just like with this main triangle and like some of this pink splatters. And I just slowly added to it, like this color up here too. And I slowly added to it. And I love the triangle. So I just thought to add more triangles. I have all this iridescent paint that I haven't really played with. So it's really cool to see how this piece came about. And it looks completely different in different types of lighting. I've tried to capture that with, you know, my videos on Instagram. It's really hard, but my goal is to definitely be able for whoever wants to purchase this to really see that and capture it and be there. So to me, glitter represents the spark, God's spark in our life. Each of us are part of God, you know, higher self, universe, whatever you want to call it. We all have that special spark inside of us. So that's what the iridescent and the glitter is supposed to really represent, is that awesome creativity, that awesome spark, that love inside of us all. So I love this piece. It is pretty big. And yeah, so $454. All right, we got 2 more pieces left. And again, it is really fun to see, you know, my mom was kind of talking about how fun it is that my art is hanging in a house instead of a gallery. So it's really cool to kind of see how it interacts with the spaces and where I'm at. This one is called We Learn in Darkness, and it is $75. It will actually come with a black frame if you buy it. It's acrylic on gesso paper, and I just love this one. I haven't really played with dark colors too much, and I think it was just, yeah, I used some black, I used dark colors, and then I kind of brought it back to life with some lighter colors and the opacity and the adding white to blue, and it's really become my favorite piece, one of my favorite pieces in this series of art. This is part of abstract play. So again, I'm just playing. I think I use my left hand most of the time for this one as well, and just letting myself express and see where that takes me. So yeah, it's been really, really fun. Now this piece over here, everybody, is amazing. It's called Self-Love. It's $700, 42 inches by 30 inches. And so these canvases, so this one and the next one you'll see, which this is the second to last piece of the art show, is made with raw canvas. So I actually built this canvas, I stretched it, and I gessoed it with clear gesso. And so that allows this like tan color of the canvas to stay. and allows me to play with that. It's also a little rougher when you're painting. It's not as smooth of a texture. So I just love doing raw canvas on some pieces because it really does give it this different look and texture. It brings the colors out differently because it's not just white gesso that you're painting on. And then, yeah, it has some pastels. It has really thick paint and it has lines. So this one was kind of called abstract minimalism. And again, I'm really trying to take my time and not rush and really just feel into the next mark, as I believe that's my creative process at the moment. So this one is Self-Love, $700. It's a pretty good size, and it would look good in like a bedroom or, you know, some place that's a little more feminine maybe, or just feeling that sensual self-love type of feeling. So awesome. So we got the last piece tonight, which is over here in the living room. And it looks so great in my space, I would say. It is with the blue couch, the green plants. It's called Follow the Yellow Brick Road, and it's $650, 37 by 30 inches mixed media. And this one in the ebook, it's kind of crazy to see how art can transform. So different, so incredible. Oh, that's good. So incredible. It started very minimalism. It started very, you know, like the self-love piece that we just saw. And then all of a sudden, I just decided to throw this big yellow brick road in the middle of it. And the reason it's really called that is, you know, yellow brick road is, if you think about the Wizard of Oz, it's that pathway from chaos to knowing. So that's kind of what I was going for with that. You know, this road going through the chaos and getting up to wherever the goal is. In the ebook, I kind of talk about how it had this like Star Wars feel for a minute, and it wasn't really my vibe. So then I just decided to put some yellow, and it's really transformed a lot. It's definitely a little different than what I was expecting as it to end up to be the final piece. But, you know, it is what it is, and that's part of art. You just kind of have to let it go with the flow. Stop judging yourself, because even if maybe it's not my favorite piece, it could be someone else's favorite piece, and they could really vibe and really love it. So this is the last one, $650. Follow the Yellow Brick Road here on my art exhibit, my art gallery, Knowing Over Mind. And yeah, so just reach out. I will be sending an email later tomorrow or later tonight, you know, with the recording, with the ebook, and feel free to reach out to me to purchase any. The postcards are $5. Those are really fun to just give to someone that you might know. I know Christmas is over, but that doesn't mean we should keep celebrating and keep giving. And yeah, so thanks so much for being here in this virtual experience. Definitely some learning curves a bit with the virtual, but I'm so happy you all got to be here and experience my art. And and we're thinking of having, maybe because we didn't have an in-person event, thinking of having a Valentine's personal event in Longmont, Colorado. So stay tuned for that if you are local here, to kind of get another vibe. I'll probably make a couple more new pieces for that. And yeah, so don't hesitate to reach out to buy or purchase a piece. Shipping's not included. We can always figure that out and work together. And thank you so much for being here. I love you all. So, all right.